Hmm? Dive into Orlando's latest cityscape drama, from nightlife restriction downtown to the contentious annexation of Sunbridge. Are these decisions paving the way for progress or sparking urban tension? Well, welcome to another episode of You Can't Make This Shit Up. Orlando City Commission passed two significant proposals. One extended a ban on new nightclubs and bars in downtown Orlando until September to allow time for better regulation, and the other approving the annexation of Sunbridge property, despite objections from Orange County. Sunbridge, a vast area to undergo expected to undergo development, will include residential, commercial, and industrial space. What do you two gentlemen say, David and Kellen?
Start us off, David.
Oh, I'm up. You're gonna make me do this. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I was looking at the wrong show note here, so I'm gonna have to catch up. But you know something, Orlando is in a flux right now with the recent suspension of District 5 Commissioner Regina Hill, the annexation, the unanimous decision to move forward with the annexation of the Sunbridge territory or development. Orlando is making some waves, and maybe not for the right reasons. I know the annexation was decision was made without any real conversation with Orange County government, which they have concerns about the effects of urban sprawl on Orlando, on Orange County, and the environment, and whether or not there are sufficient services, EMS, fire, police, sewer, water, to be prepared for this eventual growth. I don't know. Well, Democrats, this is what you're voting for. You know, Buddy's your guy, and everyone on that board are Democrats, or on the are everyone on the commission are Democrats except for Commissioner Tony Ortiz. I believe Jim Gray is a Republican also. But wow, so
Yeah, I
much
was
for
going to say
environmental issues.
I was going to say we.
Go
Yeah,
ahead, Joel. Go.
no, I was going to say we do have two, and I do owe you guys an apology. That's why we call the show "You Can't Make This Shit Up." Because Joel says, well, we're waiting on our friend Kellen, so I'm just gonna kind of jump out here, and I had the wrong show notes up. So listen, we love our audience, and I had to share that because they have to know we love them so much that we would make these mistakes and share it with them. Okay, so come on,
Yes,
Kellen, we got you
Yeah,
stuck in a
yeah.
you're
in a
stuck in
show
this
you were
one,
ready.
bro.
I'm not quite as well on this as the one we were going to do, but however, what you see very often is, and this is just something across the board, this idea that oh, these Democrats, we're Democrats, we're gonna love our transportation, we're gonna love our sustainable development, the environment, we're gonna love these things. Then when they get in the seat, that's not what happens, and I think that's why it's so essential to look beyond just labels and beyond just words and not just vote for the damn incumbent every time, everybody.
That's
Because
right.
when all people do is vote for incumbents, you get stuff like this. A lot of people are very comfortable in their seats. They're affected by interest, they're affected by lobbyists, and yeah, it gets to a point where you want to serve the developers because the developers. I mean, they have deep pockets. They're big members of the community, so they're like, oh, we got to serve them, and then you end up with rushing things. You rush things, especially with supermajorities, and this goes for Republican or Democrat. You get a supermajority, you rush things, and then you don't fully account for sewer and water. You don't fully account for
Bus
all these
lines.
things sometimes. It's the
I
unfortunate reality of the situation.
I just want to say, because I kind of want to ask David this question, you know, does this, upset Orange County because Orlando is ultimately trying to take the entire county away from them. It won't be in Orange County anymore. It will be in Orlando County. The way they're flexing their power, it looks like Buddy wants to leave office, after this
Does he?
term.
Does
But
he?
I think he wants to leave office after this term, after he owns Orange County. I
Yeah.
mean, I think that's be his whole objective is if this is my last term, which he has alluded it will be. Maybe he's just trying to say, look, we don't need a county anymore, and he's going to pull as much muscle as he can. I mean, they have all the way to Lake Nona. This city is huge. I mean, so again, my
Sprawling.
question really is, David, is this an attempt by Buddy to make the or Orange County Commission obsolete?
Well, it seems like making this decision without any real conversation. We don't know what happens behind closed doors. We don't know if the sunshine laws apply to the commission at City Hall at Orlando City as it does Orange County government. But to kind of go back a little bit, we just had an election for mayor of Orlando City just recently in November 2023. And was this discussed at all? Was it mentioned in any type of debates or forums or editorials? The three of us follow this stuff,
No.
this shit. And
This was
go ahead.
This was just, this is just again. This is where I say that the city government they have no term limits, and they won't ever introduce term limits because it's all controlled at their level. We have a charter review board with Orlando, and I'm
Right.
sure they have a review board too, but they don't put the
They
people
do.
on there that are going to challenge the government. They simply keep the same people on there. We keep, when such a small portion of the voting population actually elects you, and you put it in an off
20%.
year, they've done everything to set this up for a dictatorship. I mean, yes, okay, we do actually have an election, but the only people voting in that election probably already work for us, and they want to keep their jobs.
Exactly. 20 less than 20% of Orlandians voted again to put Mayor Buddy Dyer back into City Hall. A majority of that minority of voters put him back in. And again, we talked about this with Regina Hill, and I must correct you about term limits for Orlando City, Joel. Regina Hill was term limited recently. I had to throw that out there, guys. I'm sorry.
That she term limited herself. I mean, come on, the governor. Hey, listen. If you are interested in a position that has just opened up in Orlando, it May 21st, I believe, will be the election. So hey,
Yeah.
if you live in District 5, hey, seats opened up. Governor plucked her out of there. It took him long enough though.
And to kind of answer what you asked me to begin with, I have to go on my rant again. I laid this at the feet of those Orlandians who did not participate in the last elections, and now we're going to have Sunbridge develop to the point of another Lake Nona, which is a sprawling extension of Orlando that doesn't have the transportation services that it needs. It doesn't have the transportation infrastructure that it needs. They're building new sewers and things like that. It is crazy. It is
Gentlemen,
crazy.
I'm going to jump out of here because I have to give a call to one of our legislators who's going to be on our next show. But keep the conversation going. Guys, my final word is this is a setup, period. So I will see you guys later.
All right. Thank you,
All right,
Joel.
Legion.
Kellen.
To sound like a broken record, building wide is not the future.
Yeah.
It is not the way to go long term. These expansions into this more suburban space benefits
Rural.
virtually no one. It benefits developers, and I think like six other people, probably a couple
commission.
more than that, but not very many. Like you said, David, not only is it harder to work with transportation, which forces more people to get on cars, more cars means more people to cut me off on the road, and I'm tired of that. I don't need more of y'all on the road, and also, like you said, you have to rip up the ground. You have to put in those sewers. You have to bulldoze down the environment. Our environment in Florida, our Florida ecosystem is already one of the most fragile you will find just out there, period. There's a lot of ways for this to go wrong. I mean, we have more clean water problems than any developed country ought to. And doing stuff like this is just going to keep getting worse if it's not stopped. And like David and I said in our Regina Hill episode, and like we reiterated here,
Yeah.
you who lives in Orlando, why? I mean, maybe you've met these people, maybe you like them. Maybe you know these names, and to your knowledge, they're doing a good job. But again, I ask, why? Why are they doing a good job? Most of these people that are voting, like Joel said, work for the government already, or it's people who seek to lobby them in some way. I mean, they care. They have a stake in the election. I mean, David, how many people would it reasonably take voting for just to say one different candidate? How many would it reasonably take, do you think, to completely flip all of these seats?
How difficult would it be? Not too difficult. Tony Ortiz ran unopposed again. Patty Sheehan, she had a candidate run against her. However, it was not as strong as it could have been. People tend to think, oh, I can get into a race 3 months, 4 months, 6 months before the actual election and think that they can make a difference. Again, you can't just say, hey, I'm going to run for office, and because my neighbors know me and I'm, at the PTA meeting that, hey, I'll get some name recognition and it's enough to get me elected. No, especially when you have an entrenched incumbent like Patty Sheehan, who is now, I think, the longest serving executive level official for the city of Orlando. Even she'll have more years than the mayor, Buddy Dyer. So it's not that hard. Robert Gray in District 1, he had a successful campaign. It wasn't that close. Robert Stewart in the district that I live in, I believe is 3, he's had some challenges in the past that were very, very close, but he's pulled it out. Allegedly, this is his last term. Of course, we know the issue with Regina Hill in 5, and then in District 6, you have Bakari Burns, who had an easy victory. I believe he won with over 70% of his vote from a candidate who just didn't apply the resources to win. In regards to Buddy Dyer's election, he ran against a familiar name, Sam Ings, and several other candidates. But again, the energy to match, and of course the funding to match Buddy Dyer just wasn't there. If Orlandians, if there's an Orlandian who wants to run for office and is very serious, not just by their words, It has to be shown in their actions. Also, willing to have the necessary finances to take on one of these incumbents. But until then, we're going to have business as usual. Again, it's controlled by Democrats, and the things that local Democrats are screaming and yelling about the supermajorities in the state legislature, in the state court, and in the governor's mansion, we're seeing it in our own backyard, and y'all being fucking screwed.
Ooh, he said it.
I said it.
I think I said this before, but supermajorities. I mean, even if the people all there have the best intentions, it will not stay that way for long.
That's correct.
Because there's no pressure to perform. There's no reason to, exceed expectations when you can do nothing at all and be rewarded for it anyways.
That's right.
It's very sad. And of course, if any Orlandian out there who wants to run for office and who has a little bit of finance,
You know
we're
who to
right here.
contact.
We are right here. We know what you need to do to win.
That's
we will
right.
provide you what you need to win.
Yes.
And that's just my J&W plug there.
Thank you, sir. You're 100% correct. I know what it would take to defeat Buddy Dyer. I know what it would take to put together our team and prepare a successful campaign. We know what to do for a winning strategy. And on that note, we are your political innovators. We know what we're doing. We know what we're talking about. We mean what we say. We say what we mean. Kellen, you want to send us out?
Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and share. We are trying to grow our community. Only 20% of people are voting in these elections. Let's change it. You can be a part of it right now by sharing this video. It's that easy sometimes. And if you're not registered to vote and you live in Orlando, get registered, man. Come on.
Thank you. Thank you. You're right.
Come on. Anyways, this has been You Can't Make This Shit Up, and we are
Awesome.